Could bread and cereal be causing you to get tingly hands and tingly feet? Well, stick with me on this one because it seems like a proper clickbait title, a proper clickbait headline, but I've actually seen it multiple times in my clinic over the last decade that people are getting tingly hands and feet. And actually, one of the culprits is the amount of bread that they're eating. And this is because so many foods are fortified with folic acid. And we hear about the need for folic acid. We need it to help with red blood cell production and being able to deliver oxygen within that red blood cell around the body. We know that iron is in, like, it's stored like more than 70%, well, more than 70%, about 70% of the body's iron is stored within red blood cells. So we need to be able to produce these. And many people have these symptoms of folic acid deficiencies. Things like they're constantly tired and fatigued. They're getting brain fog. They're getting headaches. They're um, getting heart palpitations. They're getting tingly hands with folate deficiencies, and they're kind of irritable a lot of the time. So we're seeing these symptoms happen over and over again. And we know you can get folic acid from your diet. So if you're eating a diet high in green and leafy veg, beans and legumes, nuts and seeds, eggs, liver meat, organ meat, and some other meats as well, like pork and poultry, chances are you're getting folic acid in your diet. But the problem comes a lot of the times is when we see governments across the world, USA and Canada have made it mandatory to fortify, good if I can speak, fortify flour and cereals with folic acid. And in the UK, it's highly advised for flour to be fortified with folic acid. This is where the problem comes in, is that it's all well and good putting folic acid into these products. And people have these products daily. So it's great. You think folic acid is going to be high. There is not going to be any deficiencies. Well, 44% of the Western world have what we call a genetic polymorphism, basically an issue in their genetics, specifically in the MTHFR gene, methyl tetrahydrofolate reductase gene. What that means is that they can't go through a process called methylation. And what that is basically taking something which is inactive and converting it in the body to something that is active and can be used. So we talk about B12 and active B12, which comes in forms such as methylcobalamin or hydroxycobalamin and so forth. We have to convert this B12 into a usable form so our body can actually utilize it. And it's the same with folic acid. We have to convert this folic acid into methylfolate. Now, 44% of the population can't do that. And the problem then happens is that we then get this buildup of exogenous, external folic acid, which your body then thinks, oh, I've already got enough folic acid, so I'm going to stop absorbing it from food. So we cannot then get good levels of folic acid in the system. So even though people are taking these foods in that are fortified with folic acid, they're fortified with just that folic acid and not methylfolate. And then what happens is they end up getting those symptoms of folic acid deficiencies, the chronic fatigue, the headaches, the brain fog, the irritability, and the tingling hands and feet. And I've seen it come up many times on blood tests when I get a client on board and they say they've been really, really tired. And we look at anemia, we look at iron levels, we look at B12 levels, we look at folate levels, and they're eating these foods that are regularly fortified with folic acid and potentially B12 as well, but they are not seeing levels actually convert in their body. So we have to work on that. Now, one of the things that we can do is if you are someone that doesn't do well with bread, it's not to demonize bread. I'm not here to say, oh, you need to go gluten free and take all the bread out and all this sort of stuff. But so many times, my questionnaires when clients start, there's a section which is about gluten, not folic acid, but about gluten. And it says, do you do well when breads are avoided? When not just bread, but gluten is avoided? And most people answer yes. So then my question when I go for my consultation with them is that if you know this food doesn't sit well with you, why are you having it? And that's why we have to look deeper into it. why are we consistently having foods? Why are we constantly having foods that do not work well with our body, that we know lower our energy, that we know make us feel a little bit more on edge, that we know could have tingling hands and feet, symptoms like this? Why do we keep having them? And sometimes it's that maybe people don't know there's other options to have for lunch. That, well, what am I going to have if I don't have a sandwich for lunch? Sometimes is that people really just set up and they want those foods. So we have to look at what other options can you have? Salads? Can you have um, different cooked foods? Can you like have jerky? Can you have different snacks through the day? All these different things. So we have to build up on a person by person basis. But if you are someone that suffers with tingling, suffers with circulation issues, even things like cold hands and feet could be linked with the red blood cell production, which could be linked with folate deficiencies, which actually could be caused by the foods that are fortified by folic acid, stopping you being able to absorb them. Now, if we think 44%, that's nearly half the population. One in two people can't absorb the folic acid and they're taking the folic acid on board. So we need to then work at what sort do we need to take on board. Look at your multivitamin. So many multivitamins will have just folic acid and not methylfolate. So they could be causing issues. So we need to look deeper into what is going on. But I just wanted to plant that seed to say that have a look at what you're eating, because what we might think is healthy, because the government has said that it's fortified. So we need this nutrient in there. We need this folic acid, this vitamin in there, actually could be causing more harm than good. Now, sometimes we have to evaluate the whole nutrition process and we have to work on a personal supplement protocol. We have to look at potential blood tests or nutrient deficiency tests. But if you need support with this, simply drop me a message and let's look at getting on a call to chat through your health process and your health journey to see what we can do to support you